Hi, I'm Dane Flanagan from ultraHealth Agency, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics is leadership. And really, when it comes to being a good leader, you may have not been the best leader yesterday. That doesn't mean you can't improve. That doesn't mean you can't be a great leader today. That's one thing about us changing, us learning, just being a human being is that every day we can get better. Taking responsibility. Jocko Willink was a Marine who wrote a book called Extreme Ownership. And in this book, he said that as a leader, we need to have responsibility. We need to take on ownership for everything that we do, everything that's in our purview. A lot of times, it's really disheartening to have a leader, to have someone in management pass the blame, pass the buck. Oh, they didn't do it, or to make excuses. When really, as a leader, it's about taking responsibility for everything that's done within your purview, within your control. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be hands-on with everything. That doesn't mean that you need to control everything, but it does mean that you need to take ownership and you can't pass the buck because even though that you made a mistake today doesn't mean you can't correct it, right? And I think that's what we learn as better leaders is that we can get better and we don't have to blame others. We can take extreme ownership within that situation. Context knowledge base, learning how to delegate and manage. So this is an ever-growing process and it always changes from the people that you're working with. But it's about knowing the context, knowing the situation, and not necessarily having to do it, not having to necessarily be, so manipulating and controlling that you need to do every single thing that's being called to do. It's being able to delegate some of those tasks. It's hard. It's really hard, right? Like Steve Jobs, probably, one of the world's most brilliant minds, was the conceptual designer and chief designer at Apple. But did you know Steve Jobs also did the taxes for Apple? And you got to ask yourself, like, was there anybody in accounting that could do that? Or, but it's there again. We need to surround ourselves with really smart people and we need to empower them to get better. And just because somebody doesn't know how to do it now doesn't mean they can't learn, right? It doesn't mean that you have to do it yourself. It means that empower them, let them do it, and then give them guidance, give them help. Humility. One of my favorite people in the world is the Dalai Lama. I love the way he's so humble. The people that he meets, the way he addresses crowds, he is just a humble man. I want to read a passage. It's not from the Dalai Lama, but I think it's a great point about the 7 points of leadership. It says, push them when they go too slow. Calm them when they go too fast. Give them faith in what they're doing. Give them belief. Give them inspiration when they fall short. Stand behind them when they have success. And stand in front of them when they start taking bullets. Now, what that means is really about being a humble leader, right? Like when people go slow, you want to like, hey, let's get this going. And when they go too fast, you're like, hey, you're doing a great job. Let's take a step back, or let's move in a different direction. You want to let people know that what they're doing is great. Like, hey, you're doing a great job. Keep at it. And you want to inspire them, right? Like you want to inspire them when they didn't do a good job, right? You want to keep them going. You want to retain them. And when they have success, you want to let them shine. Give them their stage. Like let people, when you let on the people to, when you surround yourself with good people, and you let them, and when you empower them, like it makes you a better leader, right? Instead of just being a good captain, you're a good general, right? Like you really control an army instead of just controlling soldiers. Like you build yourself a company, an organization, instead of just having a few people that are helping you. And also, that means like when things go bad, like you don't pass the blame, you take responsibility and stand in front of them, and you guard them because you need them. You want to stay focused. This really affects like our people that are really really smart. They want to do everything, just like Steve Jobs. He wanted to do the taxes, right? But really, it's about staying focused because when you're focused, it allows you to be a better manager, but also allows the people around you not to go off on tangents. Right? In business, there's so many things we can do, so many different avenues. It leads us off into tangents. We have to come back. We have to be focused on our goal. Yes, we can put together a strategy or a plan to move forward in a different direction, but we really have to build a bridge forward. And we want to be flexible. And really, flexibility means listening, right? It means listening to the people that are around you. Now, not every idea is a good idea. Don't get me wrong. But it means maybe you didn't explain it correctly. Or maybe this is the way your customer might see it. That's flexibility. And also flexibility means changing with the market, right? Our market now is way different than it was 6 months ago. It's totally different than it was 5 years ago. Can you imagine how different our market's going to be in 5 years from now? Like, so that's why as leaders, we need to be flexible. We need to have that managerial skill that tells us, hey, I'm listening to you. Like maybe my way isn't the best way. Not every idea is a great idea, but maybe there's a different way to do it. So much more that we're talking about with our ultraSolutions programs, where we're helping you become better companies, better leaders, and striving for the future for more profitable. I'm Dane Flanagan from ultraHealth Agency. Stay well, stay ultra.